All right, this is the third take. Tried to make this video a couple times yesterday. The first time I started to make it, before I even started, I had spilled my soda water right onto the keyboard, onto my laptop, just all over it. And so, by God's grace, my computer's not ruined, even though I don't have um, keys that are sealed. You can see them raised above the laptop. So I hurried up and flipped it over. So, alrighty. um, Yesterday, before I woke up on June 11th, I had a vision and I wanted to share. It sort of went into a couple words that a couple people have shared. Don't know about the dates that one person shares, but in my vision, um, because this person had mentioned October and talking about a total collapse. So I had prayed about what was coming for the rest of the year. And then I had this vision yesterday before I woke up. I was, we're in the month of June, so I was in June, but I was looking for ahead, at the calendars, at the calendar months. And I saw July, so my glance stopped at July next month, and I knew something um, was going to happen or happened in that month. And I shared on the video a couple days ago about some words that others had gotten about summer and July, specifically July 9th, I believe. So all I knew was something happens in July. And then I looked ahead again at the months and I saw October. And I just knew that something worse was going to happen in October. And that's all I got. I don't know what. Um, that's just that's all he told. That's all I got from that vision. So I wanted to share these two words about October, and then some news and uh, a couple psalms, and then a couple lists on how you can prepare that are PDFs from online. Okay, this is from Anonymous, June 7th, October total collapse. Dear all, I have a message to share with you received June 3rd, 2021. I was riding my motorcycle at sunset on beautiful roads in New Hampshire. As I swayed left and right down wooded lanes, I became deeply entranced. In college, my friends and I termed this sensation motor stoned. Pejorative and sophoric allusion aside, I can't say that word. This term connotated a deep sense of relaxation, that is, a nearly meditative state. So on this recent evening, as the sun's radiance shed its orange-pink hues behind the silhouettes of mountains, I heard a whisper. It said, October total collapse. I took the message in and pondered on it. Intellectually, I've been predicting a false flag catastrophe based on an algorithm I've created called the desperation curve. This exponential curve suggests that the greater the threat to those who wish to destroy the world and its people, the greater the act of desperation they will launch to distract and cripple the populace in order to preserve their interests. Over the past 2.5 years since imagining this model, it has been largely accurate in predicting both the degree and timing of the events with startling accuracy. Based upon this analysis, I predicted that a very large man-made event would be initiated between July and September in order to cover up the emerging evidence of election fraud and the implosion of the Gates-Fauci um, PLANDEMIC. I don't want to have code words that flag my videos. I've already been flagged like 3 times. Uh, so that's interesting that he says somewhere between July and September. Okay, so remember I had looked at July and then I knew something happened, and then in October it was something worse. And he's saying that his word he received was October total collapse, but that he in his analysis and predictions a man-made event would be initiated between July and September. But this is only an intellectual model. I have always trusted in and preyed upon the whispers which are imparted to me, and this one I do believe rings true. God bless you. I love you all. So this is by Pollux, April 5th, 2021, October 6th, 2021, date to mark. So this is very short. Last night I had a dream. It was in the kitchen of a husband and wife I know very well who are end timers. We were talking and I was sharing the latest news I had of the world judgments. Instantaneously, the room quickly started to go totally black. You could not see your hand in front of your face. I was not afraid. It happened so fast. My mouth stopped speaking. I could not talk or verbalize anything further at all. Then I heard October 6th, and the dream suddenly stopped. Notes, the Shemitah starts September 7, 2021 for a year until September 2022, and Edward Yumling on YouTube has mentioned in 2 videos about October. So in this dream, it was just like everything went dark. So does that mean power outage? Does that mean something stops, like the economy? Well, if there's a major power outage, of course the economy would fail because all the bank and electronic systems would shut down. There wouldn't be any flow of money, at least electronically, which most of our transactions are now. So I found that interesting. It sort of ties in with October total collapse. And then there was a word, there was a word given today. Hold on just a sec. There was a word given today about Carrington Event from Anno Domini 144K. So, well, it was posted June 10th, but this word was it was given to him January 12th, 2019, but it was posted on June 10th, a couple days ago on 444 Prophecy News. So just before rising in the morning, by means of interior locution, I heard the Rima words, Carrington Event. The Spirit of the Lord made it known to me that such a solar storm was to come and that this geomagnetic event would involve a coronal mass ejection, CME, with an electromagnetic pulse, EMP. To the peoples of North America, Central America, and South America, prepare for a time without electricity, for life off the grid. Leave the large cities and settle on arable land with enough acreage for a small homestead or a hobby farm. Stock candles and gas and oil lamps. Pull out of storage and antique shops the household tools used before the age of electric appliances. Rediscover and learn the crafts practiced over a century ago, especially gardening and homesteading. Invaluable skills used today by such groups as the Amish farmers, the old-timers of Appalachia, and indigenous tribes. Create grounded Faraday cages for electronics to be protected and saved for use later when electricity returns in small pockets in a more limited way. When the colorful lights in the sky dance overhead and the lights in your houses and across the horizon go out, remember in your hearts who is the true light of the world. Our Lord Jesus Christ will fortify you. He will supernaturally fuel and empower you for the times ahead. Lo, he comes soon. So he just received the word Carrington Event, which, if you look that up, in the 1800s, there was a large coronal mass ejection from the sun that caused power issues. But we weren't on a full-scale power grid like we are now. All right. So going back to, sorry, there's these ads. Going back to the economy. So if there was a power outage, we know that I shared in the video a couple days ago about July 9th is supposed to be a false flag event. It's some type of a cyber attack, but we don't know on what. And it's planned. It's by a company. But if something goes amiss with that, and then later in October, something causes a major outage, it would definitely affect the economy. But right here from August 2019, this was from apnews.com. 74% of economists in survey see U.S. recession by end of 2021. Okay. And then this is from vox.com. Our predictions for 2021 from the Biden presidency to the current V. 2020 was unpredictable, but Future Perfect is going to predict 2021 anyway. And so what they see in the coming months and in this year, so Trump already left office, 70%. They were 70% sure that was going to happen, and that Biden will have a Treasury Secretary and all these other people by the end of the year. At least one state will have an abortion ban currently blocked by courts go into effect, so they're 40% sure about that. No one in Trump's immediate family will be indicted. Trump approval rating by end of year will be 40 to 45% range. The U.S. unemployment rate will stay above 5% through November. U.S. poverty will be higher in late 2021 than it was in late 2020. The median home price in the Bay Area will fall 5% or more. 100 million Americans will be inoculated, at least partially, against the current issue by end of April. I think they already hit that milestone, but not with me. Restaurant reservations and consumer spending outside the home back to normal by end of year. That's what they're aiming for now. The world, a deadly new zoonotic outbreak will emerge. So I guess they're predicting another issue with an illness there. And the U.S. will enact policies to hold China accountable for its treatment of Muslims, but the internment camps will remain open. More economic and other country issues. Okay. And the world temperatures will increase relative to 2020. Plant-based meat markets will share increase by at least 20%, especially when they had the attacks on the beef industry, right? And they're trying to steer everyone away from like beef. But these plant-based meat products are bad, bad, bad for you. Okay. Just a side note, I had a Seventh-day Adventist friend who would not even, use milk or dairy products like cheese or eggs or anything like that. But she would eat these plant-based meats and a lot of tofu, which most soy is GMO, which is bad for your digestive system. I finished my degree in environmental studies, and I did a paper on neonicotinoids in crops and how they affect bee colonies. But they discovered that the bees that were harvesting pollen from GMO crops were mainly the ones that were affected by the die-off, and they did a lot of study, and their digestive tracts were, instead of like a healthy yellow color, they were like a light grayish color. And sadly, my friend, who's the same age as me, 55, I'm born in March, she was born in May. She passed away the end of this September. She found out in July that she had colon and liver cancer, and she had been a strict vegan for like at least 12 years, but she didn't eat organic produce, which she mainly ate a lot of produce, right? Vegetables and fruits, but all those pesticides on those unorganic produce, and then tie that in with the GMO wheat and soy and corn, and you have a recipe for disaster. So All right. I wanted to read Psalm 20 and 21, and then I'm going to share these two PDFs, and I can leave links to these so that you can go back and read them. But one is about is the United States of America on the verge of collapse? Here's how to prepare for the inevitable decline of a nation. Okay, and this is from wildernessarena.com, Urban Survival. And then this is also from urbansurvivalsite.com, 10 things you must do before the dollar collapses. So, I think they're quick, they're not very long, but I think they're worth reading and going over, as well as mainly praying to the Lord. But if we want to tie in like the year 2020 or 2021 to the Psalms, that's why I'm going to read these and we can contemplate them and pray. So Psalm 20, may the Lord answer you in the day of trouble. May the name of the God of Jacob defend you. May he send you help from the sanctuary and strengthen you out of Zion. May he remember all your offerings and accept your burnt sacrifice, Salah. May he grant you according to your heart's desire and fulfill all your purpose. We will rejoice in your salvation, and in the name of our God we will set up our banners. May the Lord fulfill all your petitions. Now I know that the Lord saves his anointed. Did he not save those that were truly his in this past year? He will answer him from his holy heaven with the saving strength of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. They have bowed down and fallen, but we have risen and stand upright. Save, Lord, may the King answer us when we call. Chapter 21. The King shall have joy in your strength, O Lord, and in your salvation how greatly shall he rejoice. You have given him his heart's desire, and have not withheld the request of his lips. Selah. For you meet him with the blessings of goodness, you set a crown of pure gold upon his head. He asked life from you, and you gave it to him, length of days forever and ever. His glory is great in your salvation. Honor and majesty you have placed upon him. For you have made him most blessed forever. For you have made him exceedingly glad in your presence. For the king trusts in the Lord, and through the mercy of the Most High he shall not be moved. Your hand will find all your enemies. Your right hand will find those who hate you. You shall make them as a fiery oven in the time of your anger. The Lord shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. Their offspring you shall destroy from the earth, and their descendants from among the sons of men, for they intended evil against you. They devised a plot which they are not able to perform. Therefore you will make them turn their back. You will make ready your arrows on your string toward their faces. Be exalted, O Lord, in your own strength. We will sing and praise your power. So, things that you can prepare for a collapse. Like I said, I'll leave links to these PDFs. Basically, it goes over the causes of a collapse of a nation. Okay, and then so we can see that the medical catastrophe has already started that, right? And then stretching of resources. I talked about that in a video a couple days ago, how we're having so many shortages as well as import issues because we've got tons of cargo containers off the coast that we can't even bring into the harbor and unload because there's not enough people working. Okay, inequality. Have they not been focusing on this? And then we see social unrest. All right. And then the economy. So economists say 2021 and beyond is a powder keg where the slightest stumble can promote a capital flight, reduce federal revenue, and push the economy over the edge. So what happens when a nation collapses? The U.S. nearly collapsed twice already, the Great Depression and in 2008, the Great Recession. Both events demonstrated what to expect if collapse occurs. Here's what's likely to happen. You will lose access to credit, banks will close, businesses will go bankrupt, demand will outstrip supply, and massive shortages will occur, potentially including water and electricity, and for sure, food. The food supply chain could collapse, house prices will drop, blackouts and power issues become more common, so plan to be without power even if there's no attack on the power grid, but just because they're not producing it. Global panic will occur, the value of the dollar will plummet, and other currencies will fill the void. Interest rates will skyrocket, life savings will be wiped out, unemployment will hit 25% or higher, and wages will drop. Can a collapse be avoided? They say sure. Um, and then, but what can we do to prepare if there is one? First, so they give you limit your means, improve your survival skills, stock up, have what you need on hand. Okay. Like I said, I'll leave you links to these PDFs, the PDF uh, links to the on website. So 10 things you must do before the dollar collapses. So this gives you like basically what you can do, the steps you can take, the things you should have on hand, like weapons, ammunition, food, drugs, tobacco, alcohol, coffee. Here's a list of barter items to consider. Okay, have assets like arable land, have a reference library because if we don't have power, you need some books on things that you need to do that are, like if you need gardening books or medical books, um, short-term mobility, long-term survival, produce, learn how to produce your own foods, as well as barter. And so you can sign up for their newsletter and get your free 1-year urban survival plan. We won't send you any spam, unsubscribe at any time. So again, I'll leave you links. So with that, there's a couple more news articles. Even if we don't have an economic collapse immediately, they did warn a few months ago, here November 27, 2020, UN warns of impending famine with millions in danger of starvation. Okay. And then I had shared.
Okay, I'm going to share a few news articles.
I had shared with this video, economic crash and destruction coming, news and dreams, but I had shared about my dream in here. Of the Lord warned me about pretty much almost 6 years ago, economic crash and destruction coming. So I had a dream and I shared it, and basically, as I was in this hotel room in my dream, I was telling my younger son about the things going on. He didn't really believe me, and then all of a sudden they were saying it on the news. I'll leave you a link to this. It starts at the dream at like the 5.5 mark. And but sometimes, like, I know when he gave me the vision about us all wearing masks in like 2014, it came to pass like at the end of 2019, early 2020, right? Who would have thought we'd ever be all wearing masks to prevent something? But so this one was given almost in the same time period. It was given a year later. And I would play it, but I guess I could, but I'll play a clip of it.
And I had been telling, specifically, I was talking to my youngest son, who's 17, and I was telling him about the coming economic collapse. And he was, and the Lord, and he was just like, yeah, sure, basically everything's going to continue as it always has, right? And so he wasn't too worried about anything happening. And I said, no, seriously, I go, well, when you see it, you'll know. And so then all of a sudden we heard something going on the news. It was like a interruption in the program, and there was a news announcement, and they showed like these buildings collapsing, and it was from an earthquake, and we could feel part of it, but we weren't at the location that was actually, the buildings were falling in. And so they said that these major buildings were collapsing, and the earthquake, that this destruction was happening, and he couldn't believe his eyes what he was seeing on the camera on the TV. And I told him, I said, see, I go, do you believe me now? And so then we went outside, and it was a big metropolitan area, and we were not too far from the ocean, and we were outside, and there was just chaos going on. Everybody was panicking. And then we looked off way into the distance in the ocean. It wasn't this close as this picture, but this is the only picture I could find where there's a big city with large buildings next to the ocean. But way off in the distance, we could see waves forming, tsunamis forming, and so we knew that we had to get out of there. So we got into, our car, and we started driving away from the ocean. And let's see, there's another picture of a wave coming. So the Lord told me with this dream, I believe, that there's going to be people like in my dream, my youngest son, there's going to be people that don't believe that the Lord is in control and going to cause the economy to finally give out, or allow the bankers to go along with, continue their plan. But ultimately, the Lord's in charge of everything that happens. Amen. So like my son in the dream, some people aren't going to believe it until they see it. They're not going to believe the warnings that God's people have been giving, or the economists, or anything, until they see it with their own eyes. Just like my youngest son in the dream. And just like in the dream, I knew it was coming. There's many of us that know that it's coming. The Lord has told me specifically 2 years ago that hard times are coming, and to prepare for that. And so I know that it's coming, and I know other people have been warned as well. So I just I thought this was an important video to make, to put out the warning again. And just because a little 29 has passed doesn't mean that the economy is not going to go out in the next week or 2 weeks or the next month. It's all in God's timing, and that's what some people don't understand, especially the mockers, that just because the Lord says something doesn't mean that it's going to happen tomorrow. He told John on the island of Patmos 2,000 years ago that the things in Revelation were going to come upon the world. And it's been over 2,000 years, folks. But we know that God's word is true, and every single one of those things is going to come to pass before the Lord comes back. Amen.